mom jeans or shorts. What the hell? Hello sundrops and other astral beings. It's me, I'm back. Hello sister. Sorry. I was gonna put on a different shirt that I made for Pride, because it's Pride season, even though the Pride here isn't until August, thanks to the Republican convention. But I couldn't find the gay shirt, and now I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to find it at all because I spent a lot of time on that shirt, embroidering it and stuff, but now I guess I can't find it. I came to you guys on a bit more of a serious topic. I have notes. So today I'm going to talk about being sapphic, and if you don't know what sapphic is, I'm going to put the definition right here for you guys to read up on real quick, because I don't feel like explaining it all the time. Just being sapphic in like college and stuff like that, and just being sapphic overall, the coming out process and all that sort of stuff, because with Pride season coming up, I know you guys are like, oh, gay stuff, and if you guys are not, you're like, oh, help. I guess this video is to be like inspirational. I don't know if it'll inspire all of you guys, but I hope it does. If not, that's fine. So I'm gonna start out with talking about my coming out process, because coming out doesn't happen just once unless you are constantly surrounded by the people you're going to come into contact with for your whole life. You come out to people, you come out more than once because you come into contact with different people all the time. You're still going to run into new people and you're still going to make some new friends, even though to some people like myself that's a little bit scary and overwhelming and stuff like that. It's going to happen. And it's okay, you don't have to come out. But when you do, be sure to keep your safety in mind. And also with coming out, you have to make sure that you know that sometimes for some people, sexuality and gender isn't always the most stagnant thing. Like, some people will be like, hey, I'm gay, and that's how they'll be for their whole life. Some people will not come to terms with that until they're 60 years old, or some people won't come into terms with that until they're 12 years old. It really depends. There's no right or wrong age to come out. Some people come to terms with the fact that they are not straight or cisgender when they are like 5 years old. Not everybody's like that. You don't have to come out. As far as my story is concerned, I came out, I realized I wasn't straight. I realized I wasn't straight when I was 12, and I was like, hey, I'm bisexual. And the reason why I didn't come out to anybody except maybe my sister and my mother, but that was really it. The reason why is because I remember I was in gym, and I was getting dressed for gym and stuff, as one would, and these girls were like, hey, be careful, there's a lesbian coming into our rotation. And then everyone was like, ew, gross, and I was like, oh, okay. Got a blast. And then high school came, and I realized I saw this picture. I hate saying this. I saw this picture, and it had the pansexual flag, the little pink and yellow and blue, and it was this figure of a girl kissing, like blowing a kiss, and I was like, that's cute, I wonder what that is. And then I looked it up, and it was like, pansexuality is someone who can't talk. Pansexuality, where someone experiences attraction to all of genders. That's what I was trying to say, but I guess my mind didn't want me to. But I said it, so there. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much me, even though I didn't really grasp the concept that there's more than two genders. I just was like, I don't care. I came to terms with that when I was 14, and I was pretty solid with the terms, with that identity, I guess you could say, until I was 17. Before I turned 17, I was in show choir, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come out now, because we had this little deep circle type thing where it was just all the girls, and I was like, oh boy, what am I gonna say? So I was just like, okay guys, I'm pansexual. And they were like, what does that mean? And I was like, it's when you date somebody regardless of gender. And they were like, okay. And I was taken aback because I was scared of my experience back in 6th or 7th grade, where they're like, ew, nasty, gay. And here they were like, okay. Then, when I was 17, I was like, hey, I'm not entirely sure if I like guys. I was like, but there's no sexuality for that. There's only bisexuality and then pansexual. So like, where the heck do I sit? And then I saw this one pride flag post and I saw polysexuality. And it said, polysexuality is where someone experiences attraction to some but not all genders. And I was like, that's me, so I'm gonna stick with that for a bit. And I did. I stuck with it until I was 18, and then I was like, hey, I don't know how to put this in words, so I need something to help me put it into words. And then someone was like, hey, split attraction model. And I was like, well, okay, so I'm gonna call myself polyromantic pansexual. And then college came around, and I remember I was sitting in my pride meeting for aromanticism and asexuality, and they were like, hey, gray romanticism. And I was like, what's that? And they were like, that's when you rarely experience romantic attraction. I'm like, hey, that's me. So then I went with gray romantic polysexual. Then recently I was like, you know what? I don't like anybody who is a guy or is aligned with guy-ness, if that makes sense. And then I was like, am I a lesbian? And then I looked into it. I looked at a bunch of like little lesbian positivity blogs and people's definition of it, and they were like, lesbians are people who are attracted to women and women along non-binary people, because there are non-binary lesbians, everybody. Just so you know. So I'm a lesbian, but I still have that thing where I occasionally experience romantic attraction. I'm a gray romantic lesbian. I'm a lesbian who is still attracted to women and women-aligned people, but the romantic attraction is occasional. So that's where I am now. So that was a span of 7 years. So I didn't stay with one identity. I just knew that I wasn't straight. A lot of people are like, well, you have to pick a side. You're either gay or you're straight. And people who usually say this don't recognize bisexuality. And that's hard for people, especially like younger people. As far as resources go for sapphic people, a lot of people will be like, oh, don't go to Tumblr because da 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 da. And yes, Tumblr isn't perfect, but it's something. I try and like follow a bunch of positivity blogs that are geared towards sapphic people. So like, I know one off the top of my head is Saphicisms. There's also WLW Positivity, I believe. There's some others. I'll just put them like over here so you guys can check them out because they're really good, and they're not exclusionary towards trans people and non-binary people. So Tumblr is one of the big resources I find. Also just the internet in general. Definitely find you some friends, like not only in person but also online. Find you a support group that is like within your age group. Sometimes with generational people in the community, it's like a generation gap, so like they're gonna understand things you don't understand and vice versa. Caution with that, like I said, there's some caution to be had with talking to an adult. If you wish to consult an adult, that's totally fine, that's totally up to you. This depends on your comfort. I do use some adults sometimes. Some people are able to be out in their jobs, so you might be able to find somebody who is out in their workplace and they've had that job for a while and everybody's okay with them being out and stuff like that. So that's good to like have something to look up to. Yeah. Somebody to look up to, that's what I was getting at. Thanks, Jordan. Also, some caution, especially with the younger members of the community, compulsory heterosexuality, which is like the idea that, from my understanding, it's the idea that, oh, you must be heterosexual. If you identify as a lesbian and you looked at a guy and you thought he was cute once, you are heterosexual, you cannot be a lesbian. That's not a good thought to think. It's not. It's toxic. It's gross. The whole idea of gold star lesbian, definition here, it's nasty. It's gross. It's very exclusionary. Also, not everybody has good intentions. I'm so glad I realized this eventually. A lot of people, a lot of adults will like try and be your friends and try and get on your side, and then they'll start to manipulate you and get you to doing stuff you're not quite comfortable with. I'm so sorry. I got a call, which was weird, and it just cut off my video. Your comfort is supposed to come over anything else. Your comfort and safety comes over all else. Yeah, that's it. So just to recap, safety. Your safety and comfort matter, and they should go over all else. So make sure you stay fed, you stay watered, you stay safe, and everything. Sexuality and gender are not always concrete. They are sometimes, but not always. Do not feel bad if you don't come out until much later, or if you come out earlier. Everybody has their point where they come out. Sometimes yours comes earlier, sometimes yours comes later. It all depends on how comfortable and safe you feel and your resources. Make sure you get some resources. That's a nice segue. Get some resources. Something to learn from, something to go off of, something to almost validate your thoughts, and make sure you have a support group, whether that be some friends or a nice, trustworthy adult. That could be your parents, that could be a teacher, that could be an adult at your school, somebody safe that you can trust with this very intimate topic. Please like and subscribe, tell your friends and your friends' dogs, or don't. I don't mind. And until next time.